Boom. What's this thing called? Welcome back to another episode of Mortgages and Mixology. So today I want to talk about something that is on everyone's mind, and that is equity. What is equity? So equity is the value or the total worth of your home. Let's say you bought your house at $300,000 a couple years ago. Well, now it's worth $500,000. That difference between the amount of money that you bought it at or borrowed at compared to how much it's worth, that is your equity. You can use it when you sell your home. So the difference between how much money the home is worth compared to how much money you owe on the mortgage, that is your equity. That's how much money you will be able to make. So it's a really cool thing. But you don't have to sell your house to access that equity. There's lots of ways you can utilize the equity in your existing home to really take care of additional things like home improvements. Maybe you're looking to do some updating in that house, need some new floors, some new countertops, a new kitchen, a backyard, a pool. You can use the equity in that home to finance those items. You can also use it to pay off debt. This is one of my favorite uses of equity. If you've got higher interest credit card debts, if you've got maybe an auto loan that you had a hard time qualifying for, so it's got a super high payment, you can pay that off with your mortgage using that equity. That equity can be used for anything. Let's say you wanted to invest in cryptocurrency or in the stock market. You can pull money out of your home to do that. There is no limit as to what you can use that equity for. However, there are limits in how much you can borrow. This, I think, is the one that confuses a lot of people. You can't borrow up to 100% of your value. So let's say today your home is worth $500,000. You have a $300,000 loan on it. Does that mean you can pull out an additional $200,000? It does not. There's a few different ways, and so I'll kind of go through the differences. I've helped a lot of clients with all of these scenarios. Every situation's different. There's not a one size fits all. That's why I kind of talk about all of the available options and to use your equity. The most popular one is the cash out refinance. You're pulling out a new loan that's higher than your existing loan, and then you pocket the difference or use that difference to pay stuff off. This is one of the best uses for debt consolidation. If you have a bunch of credit cards, if it's too high and if it's to the point where you have no idea how you're gonna pay it off and you own your home, please use that equity in your home. I don't care if you refinanced a couple years ago and you have a 2% interest rate and now we have to refinance you to a 5.5 or even a 6%. Trust me, if it puts you in a better situation financially, it is still a smart thing to do. And here, let me explain why. So I had a client coming to me the other day. He had 7 or 8 credit cards, all over like 10 grand. So long story short, between his mortgage payment and all these credit cards, he was spending $2,700 a month. So $2,700 a month in just bills, right? Minimum monthly payments to the credit cards, minimum mortgage payment. What we did is we refinanced it to pay off those credit cards because he had a ton of equity in the home. The interest rate that we put him into was actually higher than the existing rate, but the monthly cash flow, the amount of, instead of spending $2,700 a month, now we're spending $1,900. We went from $2,700 to $1,900 a month. That is a significant difference. If you could save that extra money every single month, and again, all we did was change the way we're paying the debt, right? It's still the same debt. He's still making payments, but it's just the way we allocate it differently. And guess what? You would think that would actually make your, push your house out to 30 years, whatever. We took some of that savings, applied it to the principal balance of the mortgage every month. His mortgage is actually going to be paid off faster than what we originally planned on. Completely out of debt, credit cards are gone, just has the house payment. The house payment itself is higher, but the total monthly debt is lower, which means you can take some of that extra savings, apply it to that principal balance of the mortgage, and now his loan is going to be paid off in I think it was 17 years. So not only are we paying his mortgage loan off in 17 years instead of 30, we're saving him an extra, I think it worked out to be $600 a month. So $600 a month in his pocket just by reallocating some of that debt. Keep in mind on a cash out refinance, I told you we can't go up to that full 100% of your value. Typically it's 80%. We can usually borrow up to 80% of whatever your home is worth. It's really simple math. You take the value of your home, you times it by 0.8, and then you subtract your mortgage balance on what you owe now. That difference is what we call lendable equity. So that's the potential of how much money you could borrow. So anyone can do this math at home. I'm gonna say it one more time. The value of your home, which you can find on realtor.com, Zillow, take that value, times it by 0.8, and then whatever that dollar amount is, subtract how much you owe on your mortgage. And that is how much money you can potentially borrow or have access to via a cash out refinance. Now, if you are a veteran and you have a VA loan, that percentage goes up to 90%. We can do 90% of that equity rather than 80%. Let's say you refinanced in the last couple of years, or you got a loan in the last couple of years where the interest rates are really low, or the 2s, the 3s, and you don't want to refinance to a higher rate because maybe you don't need to pay off debt, but you want to put in a pool or, redo your kitchen or your bathrooms. Instead of accessing it via that cash out refinance, you can get a home equity line of credit. So that what that is a second loan, and it's money that you can use against the equity of your home. And the best part about home equity lines is you can borrow and pay back, borrow and pay back. So it's not like a loan, right? Where on a mortgage, if you're doing a 30-year mortgage, at the end of 30 years, the mortgage is done, it's closed, that's it. On an equity line, you have an available line of credit, similar to like a big ass credit card, like $100,000, $200,000, or however much equity you have in the home. Again, typically up to like 90%, sometimes a little bit higher. Now you have money that's available. This is really cool because let's say you don't need the money now, but 6 months down the road, you find an investment property that is a smoking deal, but you don't have that 30% to put down or 20% or whatever it is. You can take the money from that equity line, use that as a down payment, pick up that investment property, fix it up, flip it, resell it. Once you've made your profit back, you pay that equity line right back, and it opens up that money, and you can do that all over again. This is a great way to become a real estate investor. If you just own your primary home and you bought it a few years ago and you have equity, give me a call. Let's get you an equity line because they are amazing tools to help build wealth, to help get you financially set for life if you use them correctly. Throw out a word of caution with the equity lines because you do have to be disciplined, I should say. So it's like a credit card, right? The monthly minimum, like if you borrow 200, if you borrow 50 grand on an equity line, your monthly minimum payment's only gonna be a few $100s. That's not gonna pay that 50 grand back. So you have to be disciplined and figure out how much of a payment you would need to do. So if you wanted to pay it back in 3 years, you'd have to do the math manually to figure that out. Unless you took what's called a fixed rate advance. I'm getting a little deep into it now, but you've got additional options to fix those higher interest rates, things like that, but they do have those options. Bottom line, if you bought your home in the last few years, I can almost guarantee you have a good amount of equity. Put that equity to good use. Be smart about it. Use it to pay off debt. Make those home improvements. Use it to invest in real estate, in other things. Equity lines and cash out refinances can become a fantastic tool to help you build your wealth. So that's what I got for you today, guys. Getting a little bit more, just trying different cocktails, right? So today we're gonna do a rum cocktail. I typically don't drink a lot of rum cocktails, but this one was kind of fun. It came out of this T-Pain recipe book that I have, so I thought it was kind of fun. The name of the cocktail, compared to what we were talking about today, it's called Turn On the Lights. We're talking about accessing that equity. A lot of people didn't even know they could do that, so it's like a light bulb going off in your head. Oh, turn on the lights, let's do this. Let's get to it. So first off, 1.5 ounces of white rum or clear rum. You just don't want the darker stuff because we want it to be clear. I'm not a big rum guy, so I have no idea if this is even good. Pretty sure someone gave this to me as like a housewarming present. So thank you, whoever hooked it up with the Beach Bar Rum Project Puerto Rico, Sammy's. See, I've got my Miami Beach shirt on today. We're getting that beach vibe. This is another one with mint. So we're gonna use this Pilsner glass. We're just gonna throw some fresh mint on the bottom here, and we're gonna muddle this again. So this one we're not muddling with any liquid or anything, just gonna get some of those oils out. So there we go. We already got the rum in here. We're gonna add a little bit of simple syrup, a 1/2 ounce of it to be exact. So 1/2 ounce of simple syrup added to the rum, 1/2 ounce of fresh lime juice. Got the lime juicer. Gonna shake this bad boy up. All right, nice and shaken. Put some ice in this glass. Fill it all the way to the top. You'll notice I left the mint in the bottom. Don't worry, that was on purpose. So there we go. Rum simple syrup and lime juice. Again, you'll notice this is not going to fill this glass all the way up, because again, we're going to top this bad boy off with a couple different things. So there we have that. Next, we're going to top this with some club soda, or in my case, hard seltzer, because you know we got to put alcohol on top of alcohol to make it really good. Here we got another local hard seltzer from Four Peaks Brewery. This one's called Tropical. I'm assuming it's pineapple flavored because it has a pineapple on the front of it, but we're going to top it in lime, mint, and rum and pineapple. I mean, ooh, okay. Top it there. And then we're going to top it with bitters. It's called a bitter floater. So I have Peychaud's bitter. It's really red. We're going to do 4 dashes of that. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the classic Angostura bitters, same thing, 4 dashes of that right on top. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we got color throughout. Look at that. Looks like a flag. And we top it with the mint sprigs. And there we have it. The turn on the lights. Man, that's a good looking cocktail. Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed, and you guys have a great rest of the day. Cheers.